everybody, to the SOS Small Business Success Podcast, where we're all about building brands to help you survive while developing you to thrive. I could use some thriving right now. I don't know about you. I feel a little bit in survival mode, and I'm looking to thrive. So I'm open. Anybody come to me, provide me some advice. Today's session is going to be definitely more vulnerable for me because I feel very emotional about it at this point. So let's get started. Our title today is Abandon Relationships. We've all probably been through this at some point in our lives, right? Where a relationship is just not working anymore. As leaders and business owners, this has happened to us multiple times, probably, where we had to let people go or people left us and it feels like we've been abandoned. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more from an emotional level, and certainly it's a story attached to me and a personal relationship as well. So I'm your host, Bonnie Bonadeo. All right, you guys, you know what I'm about. I'm about SOS Salon coaching. I'm about making sure that we are saving our salons and providing salon owner solutions, all tied to the SOS. I have soft launched my SOS Leadership Academy this year. I'm very excited about what's to come this fall and going into next year. And again, this is all because of my beautiful time at Intrigue Salon with my love of my life, Jeff South, that I get to play in the salon environment as a leader and to be able to test all of these things out. So I know that it makes a difference for me to have the confidence and not feeling like a fake coming forward here of trying to help salon owners because I'm in it. I'm in it every day like you are. Okay, we always work on the 5 anchors on our podcast here today. So, sales operations, mindset, marketing, education. Today is all about mindset. And really it's helping me to kind of get my mindset straight. Me being able to just share this podcast with you helps me to be able to get my mindset in place. So let's talk about the abandoned relationships. You guys all know the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. The relationship with my sisters falls into the definition of insanity. And I question whether I'm the insane one or whether they or one or the other are the insane ones. But it is a relationship that is ready to be abandoned. And I'm struggling emotionally with it. When I use the word emotionally intelligent or emotional quotient, which they kind of intermix there, the key word is managing your emotions in all of this. And we don't have the ability, the way that we're hardwired as humans, to be able to not have emotions show up or stopping them before they start. We can't eliminate emotions, because there's a good side to it. Happy and glad and joyous and all of these other emotions are present for us. So, when they show up, we want them to be there. It's kind of looking at the dark side or the more negative emotions that show up, the reactive ones that kind of get us into situations where our relationships are not as healthy as they could be. So when we talk about managing systems and leading people, sometimes what we're referencing is that if you think of your emotions as kind of a system, the way that we're hardwired, we're a machine hardwired, and an element of systems within our product, ourselves, is emotions. And in other cases, it's intelligence. In other cases, it's physical, mental, all of these things, right? But emotions is definitely one of the systems. And when we're trying to manage this particular system, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And when we talk about leading people, we're leading people is again another system, but when we're present. In other words, I say that the leadership programs that I have launched, the Ultimate Leaders Program, the beginner, the mid-level, then the ultimate, all of those, it's a framework. it's a framework for you to be able to learn how to be more emotionally intelligent or emotionally available for people. But sometimes our systems don't work, and not everyone wants to be led. And in my case, when I'm trying to manage my emotions with my sisters, it's like it goes right out the window. We convert to people I don't even recognize anymore when we're together. And most of that started after my mother died. So I'll take you guys back a little bit. I have three sisters. I have two other sisters, so I'm one of three. I'm the baby of the three. We're 16 months apart. So we were boom, boom, boom with my mother. And I think they kept trying because my father really wanted a boy. And I would say that we were very close, but my two older sisters are much closer. Like, they had mutual friends, they had more things in common, they did a lot more things together growing up. I was kind of more of what I would consider to be the middle child. Then my brother came 5 years later. So, but I was always like enamored by my sisters, like I wanted to hang out with them. I wanted to be with them. I wanted to be, big girls like them. And even though I had a very different way of being than they did, I didn't like the same clothes that they wore. I was definitely more into sports and academics. They were more artistic in their approach. And so as different as we all were, they had a very special bond for many years. When my brother was 22, he passed away. He committed suicide. So it shook our family to the core. And of course, this was not expected and unknown, and there was no note and all that stuff that you question and have to deal with. So, frankly, I've been dealing with this for many, many years. I still don't have any answers. But it did bring us together a little closer as a family. And my father, we grew up with my father being a Harley rider. So he was like the Fonzie of his town when he was a teenager. And then he came out to Phoenix, which is where all of us children were born. And he had the same motorcycle his entire life. And so my brother wanted to get a motorcycle and be like him. And so my brother got this beautiful Harley Fat Boy, one of the original Fat Boys, beautiful bike. But when my brother passed away, it really evoked something in me and my sisters that we wanted to kind of carry on this opportunity that he didn't really get to be on his bike and ride as much as he wanted to with my father. And so me and my sisters all went and got our motorcycle license, and we all went and bought motorcycles. And so we started riding as a family after this, and we became very close, and we had a lot of connection, a lot of fun. My sisters and I traveled a lot together and everything. So my father passed away in 2019, and then my mother passed away in 2022. So it's been 2 years. The relationship with my sisters started to, become more difficult. And certainly after my mother died, it became very difficult. And 2 years later, we still don't have a good relationship today. And it's wearing on me, okay? So what do we do when relationships don't work? And I'm going to talk about it from two angles. One being more personal relationships, the other one being relationships in our business, because I always want to make sure I'm focusing on some business here as well. So do you think about it as like, is it time to abandon them? Do you try harder to salvage the relationship? Do or don't you go down with the ship here? You watch them go from being a do-gooder to a pirate right before your very eyes, and it leaves you kind of flabbergasted, I guess. Like, wait, what just happened here? Do you walk the plank with them one more time, thinking, hoping that things will change? And here's the three things I want you to do. First, I want you to look at, what are you doing to contribute to this more difficult relationship? Because we really do have to look in the mirror at ourselves. We can't always just point the finger and blame another person for why something is not working. We have to look at ourselves and to be able to determine, am I contributing to this relationship not being good? Second, is this a pattern, repetitive behavior, you or them? Like, do they trigger something in you that every time they're around, you become this certain way, and then you're kind of uncomfortable with the situation yourself, or how to fix it, or resolve it, or make it better? Or maybe it's them. Maybe this is a pattern with them that just keeps showing up, and you kind of just ignore it and go, oh, that's just the way they are. And then all of a sudden there's a point where it starts to impact your life and your easefulness of your life. And then you're kind of like, no, this isn't working for me anymore. All right. And third, what are your next steps? Like, what do you really need to be doing here? Because, just ignoring it as if it's going to go away is not going to serve you. But maybe conversing with that person about it also doesn't serve you. And so you're kind of like in this black hole of, what do I do? How do I fix this? And am I even in a position to fix it? And should I be fixing it at this point? But so you can see where all the emotions are coming in just talking about it, right? I think about what I want the ultimate goal to be. My ultimate goal is to have a loving, healthy relationship with my sisters. My ultimate goal would be to have really compassionate, empathic, prosperous relationships with the people that I work with. And in the end, I want, whether it's personal or business relationships, I want there to be some clarity and peace in it. Like, I'm willing to invest in these relationships because there's the investment back, and that serves all of us here. Okay, so I've shared this with you guys before, but part of the emotional intelligence piece for me is also knowing when to make that SOS call, right? So when things are going bad, you want to stop, oxygenate, and seek information, right? Now, the stopping part is, if the conversation is not going well, just stop the conversation, divert the conversation, or give yourself a moment of pause if you can. And be honest in this moment, and be honest and say something like, I feel like we've been down this path before and we're not getting to the point where we're resolving it. I don't know how to at this point. If you have any suggestions, I'm open to hearing you out. But at this point, we do need to stop this from moving at the pace that it is any further. And I'm trying to be logical in this moment, but clearly you can see that even when I said all that, I said it with emotions. And of course, I said it with thinking about my sisters in mind. Oxygenate, breathe, because that kind of dissipates, the hormone that is going into your system when you peak at a high level of stress. And then, of course, seek information. And that kind of goes back to what I shared with you guys a minute ago. Seek information is look at yourself first and then seek information. Can I make this better? Do I need to step away? Is there something else I can be doing, or should I be doing nothing at all? And just kind of giving yourself that you're asking yourself questions so that logically you're getting out of the emotional part of your brain and you're going into the logical neocortex part of your brain. And that kind of, again, helps to dissipate this high stress cortisol hormone that is racing through your body thinking that you're in danger or unsafe, right? So there's your SOS call, what you need to do. So let's look at the work or the employee relationship. Right now, determine first, is it a short-term circumstance? In other words, if there's something going on with you and somebody within your team or within your organization, is it short-term? Is this something that's cropping up now and it's unusual? Has it been an ongoing issue? And ultimately, are they okay? Have you checked in with them to a point of, not from a business standpoint, but just from a very personal point, are they okay? Because they may be fearful or not feel safe to be able to share with you the depth of what's going on. They might be too vulnerable for them, or they can't let you know what's going on. In other words, but you can see when somebody's acting a little differently. The second is you have to choose one arena here. Okay, is this a behavior issue or is it a performance issue? And they could be linked, but you have to determine one or the other, because you can't support somebody on a performance issue when there's a behavior behind it. You got to start with the behavior. So let's say if somebody is their business is going down, or they're not rebooking, or their performance is impacted. Look at it from a different point of view. Have they been showing up late? Have they been coming in disheveled? Have they been not being a team player? Like, is there something else behind the performance going down that you need to address as a leader in there? And if it's the behavior issue, this could be deeply rooted. So you could do a listening conversation. You don't solve it, they do, but you just are listening with empathy and compassion. And you're just giving yourself that moment of building trust that they can share with you what might be going on with them. And but again, not being in a position to fix it. You're really kind of playing the role of a coach here, where you're just being present and guiding them to seek their own solutions, but not trying to solve it for them. Leadership would be, kind of crossing over of being able to say, I'm going to help you solve this. But in a behavior issue, doesn't always work that way. Now, a performance issue, you want to connect with them. You want to engage them, show them, teach them, and then recognize them. Because there's obviously like 3 steps they can do to improve performance, right? So kind of works in that manner in there. So behavior, performance, separate the two, see if there's some behavior behind the performance first, tap into that area as well. Now, that's great for work and relationships. Again, this is a framework, you guys, for better leadership. When it comes to family or friends, all of that can just like fly right out the window, right? But I'm going to give you the same possibilities here. Determine first if this is a short-term circumstance. In other words, has a relationship just soured recently, or has it been an ongoing issue? And then again, to be able to check in with them. Are they okay? All right. So in relationship with my middle sister, okay, and I always just, for years and growing up, we always just kind of put her into the middle child syndrome capacity, being the one of 3 girls. We always just put the middle child in that place and just said, that's just the way she is. That's just the way she is. But the truth is, now at this point in our lives, and with a lot of circumstances happening to her and her not maybe having the life that she's wanting or desiring, she's not okay. She's not okay. But now this goes outside of my ability to help her or try to help her. I can be present with her, but that's it, right? So the second is choosing, is it a behavior issue? Can you support them? Do they need other support? Yes. So definitely this falls into, with this particular situation, it's definitely a deep-seated behavior issue. And I can be present with them, but I can't support them. And do they need other support? Yes. And then you have to then say, how do I bring that forth? How do I bring up that conversation? How do I speak that truth with this person under the circumstances that they may not want to hear or listen or anything? And it could dissolve the relationship at that point. So it's a behavior issue. It's probably deep-rooted. I have tried numerous times the listening conversation. I think it soothes, and I think it's a good coping approach to manage the relationship to the best that you can, but it's definitely becomes a pattern of that expectation. I just need to listen and show empathy and show compassion. But then it turns wildly, from do-gooder to pirate right there. And then, of course, other opportunities is connect them to another with purpose. Is there somebody that you can refer them to or have them reach out to or suggest that they find somebody? You can love them from afar. You can disengage with them. Or you can dissolve the relationship completely. And unfortunately, I am in this other opportunity right here. And I'm feeling very sad and vulnerable for that. Yeah. So for salon owners, the abandoned relationships, of course we know that emotions are going to be present. Doubt's going to show up. There's going to be fear of retaliation, fear of losing others. But I want you to focus in on your why. Why is it important that you are creating boundaries for yourself and this person to not keep encroaching on you or your team in this particular way? Because you're looking at it from short and long-term culture. Are they impacting my culture positively, or are they impacting my culture negatively? And listen, we know at the end of the day, one person can change things for the good and one person can change things for the bad. So if you got bad apple in your bucket here, sometimes we need to eliminate the bad apple so it doesn't kind of sour the other apples as well. And it happens pretty fast. And sometimes it happens under our nose where we're just like, what? How did this happen? How did this person be so great? And then all of a sudden now I can't seem to figure out what to do with them, type of thing. Focus on your why. Look at the short and long-term goals that you have set up for your business to be able to do that. Now, with family and friends, of course, emotions are still going to be present. Doubt is definitely going to show up. You're going to question whether you've done enough. So, it may be somebody that has some form of addiction, or narcissism or something like that. You're going to always question, have you done enough? Have you done enough? And you're going to fear losing them. Losing the relationship or losing them completely could be a fear. But you might also be fear of losing others that is within that connection for you. But again, I want you to focus on your why. And for you personally, I want you to think about what is the short and long-term mental health benefits of this. Talking less, not having the same relationship, not having the drama present, for me, has been very healthy. When we poke back into trying to reestablish the relationship and it goes sour, I feel very stressed and anxious. And I don't like that feeling. And then I keep thinking that there's something more I need to do. And I don't know what that is. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Any suggestions? I'm open to hearing. Because relationships are hard. And again, I could be, training you guys on emotional intelligence, but I'm not going to be emotionally intelligent 100% of the time. I'm not going to manage my emotions 100% of the time. I am not perfect, and I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm aiming to be a better person every day, though. That's my goal, is to be a better person every day. And sometimes others want you to be what they want and what serves them. And we have to make this determination for ourselves if that's a healthy thing to move forward with and to continue on before abandoning the relationship. And of course, this is the determination that you need to make. And certainly in me sharing my story with you, it's a determination that I need to make as well. Now, when I bring this up in regards to my sisters, I'm surprised at how many people don't have loving, healthy relationships with their family members, sisters, brothers, whatever that is. And for a moment, that makes me feel like, okay, I'm not alone in this. And then, frankly, it makes me feel worse that we don't have better relationships with other human beings, because we need each other. We will not go through this alone. I think everything that we're seeing, what's going on in the world, the craziness, the retaliation, the wars, the angst, the political agendas, the hurricanes, we need each other. And we have to figure out how to be able to build better bonds, better relationships, but we also need to figure out how to have more defined boundaries as well within those relationships. So I hope that helped you guys. it did help me saying it out loud and hearing it for myself. I do have some internalizing and some thinking to do, and I'm sure I'm going to get emotional as soon as I get off this call in hopes of coming up with something that's going to support me and my family and my personal mental health here today. All right. Leadership is always the conversation that I enjoy talking about, even if it is more personal in relationships. But hey, if you're going to be in Atlanta on October 28th, please come to the Data Driven on tour. I'm going to be speaking on the stage. My topic is leading with heart and edge. A little bit of what we talked about today, heart and edge. But it's definitely going to be from a business side, not necessarily from a personal side. So I hope to see you in Atlanta at the end of this month. In the meantime, I'll see you on Instagram as I'm continuing to do my lives on SOS leadership tips. See you soon, everybody. Thanks for joining me too.